Welcome to Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of Today's Homeowner magazine and remodeling contractor Danny Lipford.
Well, at least the kitchen sink and the kitchen window are in the right place, but almost everything else in this kitchen is poorly positioned. This is one of the things that are motivating the homeowners to take on this kitchen remodeling project that we'll show you on this week's show. Now, you know, kitchen remodeling is one of the best investments you can make in your house because you're able to recoup almost all of that money that you spend in the kitchen in the event of the resale of the house. Now, another problem we'll be addressing is the very narrow passage between the base cabinet and this refrigerator. We'll show you how we're creating a very spacious kitchen without adding any square footage to the house. So stay with us. One of the main complaints I hear from homeowners that have overhead cabinets like this between their kitchen and their breakfast room is they feel trapped in here as they're cooking while everybody's out at the breakfast table having fun, enjoying the fruits of their labor. We're going to solve that by removing all of this, which will really create a more spacious feel in this kitchen. Another thing we'll do is to remove all of the fur downs above the cabinets. Now, occasionally the fur downs conceal air conditioning ductwork, electrical wiring, maybe even some plumbing pipes occasionally. In this case, we're all free of that problem. We're able to remove these, which will enable us to raise the cabinets, the new cabinets up a bit, and still create a nice decorating opportunity up on top for plate collection, basket collection, or anything along these lines. Now, not only did the homeowners want a more spacious feel to their kitchen, they also needed more space to develop a more functional kitchen. One of our options is to build an addition off the front of the house. Now, one of the challenges you may have when building onto the front of your house is that it drastically affects the look of your house from the street. And the curb appeal is very important, so you need to consider that. Another potential problem are the setback requirements for your area. Now, setback refers to the distance that you have from the street to the front of your house. So that's something you would have to check into before considering an addition on the front of the house. But another problem, and probably the most significant, is it's very expensive to build an addition onto the house, particularly a smaller one. The cost per square foot can be astronomical in building one of that size. So you may need to think of another option. Now, one thought was to gain the space that we need by encroaching in this direction of the house approximately 3 feet. Now, the old carport that was original to the house has been converted to a study and has a floor elevation difference of about 3 feet. So we'd have to build a new floor system to raise that floor up. Also, in the same area, there's a water heater and washer and dryer, so we'd have to find an alternate location for that. We found the space we needed in an area that is seldom used by homeowners, and that's the formal living room. Now, several years ago, the homeowners had a remodeling project completed that removed a wall section here and installed a beam up above it to carry that load that really opened this space up. But they found they still didn't use it very much. So we're going to use it by moving this wall out 3 feet and making a good functional kitchen. Now, of course, before we made the decision to remove this wall, we checked very carefully in the attic to see that it is a non-load bearing wall, which means the ceiling joist and roof rafters are running in this direction. We were lucky here, so it'll be very easy to remove this wall. But many times when you move a wall or do something in remodeling, it creates the need to do something else. Here's what I mean. With moving it over 3 feet, that puts us over into this window by about 5 inches. When this wall ties in, we certainly don't want that window to be in the way, so we're going to move this window opening down, which there's plenty of wall to do that, and we're going to use the opportunity to upgrade the single pane aluminum window to a double pane, far more efficient type unit. Now, by moving this down approximately a foot will give us a good margin between our wall and the corner of the window here. So that should work great and end up with an added benefit for the homeowners here. Now, when you're in the demolition stage, you have to be careful because you can get hurt very easily, but also you can hurt a lot of the original materials, and any damaged materials like this that you're planning on reusing can be quite a challenge when you get to the finishing stages on a remodeling project. So when we come in to remove this paneling and chair rail and base that'll be reinstalled on the new wall, we're going to be very careful to preserve as much of it as we can. Now, speaking of demolition, that's where the excitement begins and that's where the project starts. Any demolition should start with sufficient cover-up of the surrounding areas. Plastic, masking tape, and an exhaust fan are important tools to control the dust that's inevitable with remodeling. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the paneling and molding will be reused later in the project, so a lot of care is being taken in their removal. Now, 35 years ago, when this house was constructed, most cabinets were built on site by the trim carpenters, and boy were they built. This makes demolition quite a chore, and the possibility of reusing the cabinets elsewhere in the house impossible. Another area where particular care was taken is in the removal of the wall cabinets to avoid damaging the existing drywall. The only area the drywall is being removed is on the wall that is being relocated to allow expansion of this kitchen. Well, the space is really developing in the kitchen now that the fur mounts have been removed and all of the wall cabinets have been removed. But the most significant change will be here, where we're adding 3 foot on to the existing kitchen. Now, the existing kitchen was around 110 square feet. With the additional square footage, puts us a lot closer to that 150 square foot average that we find across the country. Now, stay with us when we come back. We'll tell you all you need to know about selecting a good set of quality cabinets.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine repair and maintenance editor Joe Truini show you this week's simple solution. Brought to you by Dodge.
One problem many homeowners have when using a circular saw is how to make good, long, straight cuts.
What homeowners typically do, Danny, is they'll clamp a board in place and run the saw along the edge of the board. And that works fine, but when you've got repetitive cuts, you have to continuously move and clamp the board to get the cuts. This is a much easier way. Take a straight 1x2 that's about 3 or 4 inches longer than the base plate of the saw and simply screw it in place parallel to the blade. Then all you need to do is simply align the 1x2 at the edge of the board and make a nice long straight cut.
Okay, now what about the wider cuts that so many times you have to make on like plywood or particle board?
Right, this system's only good for up to 3 or 4 inches. Beyond that, what you need to do is get a piece of plywood. This is about 1/2 inch plywood cut 12 inches square, and you simply screw a straight edge guide to the plywood. Then you fasten the plywood to the base plate and you make your wider cut.
Of course, remember safety. Anytime you're working on a saw like this, make sure you unplug the saw. That works great, having that recessed in the wall. Now that the plumber's completed his work in running the new ice maker line and the installation is almost complete, we're very close to being ready for the drywall to be installed, both on the walls and on the ceiling. Then we'll give a day or so for the finisher to come in and have all of the walls and ceiling completely finished. Then we'll be ready for cabinets. Now, cabinets usually will represent about 50% of the cost of a kitchen remodeling project, so a lot of attention has to be given in selecting those cabinets. Now, so that you'll know how to select a quality set of cabinets, we recently visited a kitchen and bath showroom. A cabinet showroom gives you the opportunity to see exactly what the cabinets will look like once they're installed in your home, because many times a sample that you may like may be a bit overpowering when used throughout the room. Also at the showroom, you're able to look at all the different finishes that are available, hardware and door styles, and you can compare quality of cabinets from one set of cabinets to the other. Also, you can see all the different accessory options that are available in cabinetry today. Now, recently we spoke with some cabinet manufacturers to get some tips on what to look for when you're in the showroom.
Whether building or remodeling, the very important choices in a kitchen and bath design is definitely product selection and versatility. In a specific room, there are many challenging measurements that need to be accommodated. So when someone is selecting their kitchen, they need to include all the list of items that they would like in their kitchen, from function to design. With function, I would include sliding out shelves, lazy Susans, very important part of the kitchen, pantry shelves, very good for storage. Also in the kitchens, we have design flexibility of the product, which changes the cabinet depth, width, and height. And that is very great for challenging corners in specific homes where remodeling projects are taking place.
The other thing you need to think of in terms of looking for your cabinets is what is a quality cabinet. You want to look for drawer boxes that are solid wood. When you pull your drawer out, does it glide well? Are the runners undermount runners so that it can withstand a heavy load impact? Is the finish smooth to the touch? Is it even? Do you not have a lot of variance between color from one cabinet to another? You want shelving that's 3/4 of an inch thick so it also can withstand all the plates and dishes that you're going to stack in your cabinets.
Another consideration is quality hardware. The hardware should allow good, smooth operation of the doors each and every time. Now, naturally, if you spend enough money on your kitchen cabinets, you can get quality. But with careful shopping and do your homework, you can get a great set of cabinets on a modest budget. Now, to keep your budget in line, you need to think about how many accessories you really need in your kitchen cabinets and choose the ones that do the most for you, like the Lazy Susan that Angela mentioned. This really can give you good access to the back part of your base cabinets and really is an inexpensive way to go. Another inexpensive accent is a glass door that breaks up the top cabinets quite a bit, gives you a chance to kind of highlight all that nice china that you may have. Another way to add a little color to a kitchen is through the wine rack. There's nothing nicer than some nice wine bottles to bring a little color into the kitchen. Again, it's very inexpensive. Now, if you like me and hate any of the clutter on your countertops, the appliance garage may be just the thing to tuck those appliances out of the way. And if you remind the electrician, he can install you an electrical outlet on the back wall to keep those appliances plugged in.
It's time to check out this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Paul Spring.
Well, Paul, what are we looking at today?
Well, Danny, we're looking at a very tiny little ladder for demonstration purposes, but it has a best new product attached to it. This is the Quick Click Ladder Stabilizer from Werner.
Okay, now I've seen a lot of devices like this, but most of them are so hard to attach to the ladder and disassemble from the ladder and really take a long time.
Yeah, they do, Danny. They have U-bolts that attach to the ladder rail. You have to put nuts on each side and tighten them down. This is a much better design. It's a simple locking click on a spring right here. Push it and you lift it right on out. You can see that clip right here fits down against the tread, and this locks on the tread below.
Well, the way it's designed, I guess this would fit almost any type of extension ladder.
Yes, it will, Danny. Almost all fiberglass and aluminum ladders this will accommodate.
And I can see they've remembered the paint can with the paint can hook here.
They did. There's a hook here. There are also very heavy vinyl bumpers here, which is great. It really won't mark the siding.
And I think it's great how wide this is because you can work around the windows and doors that you may have on the side of the house without really even getting in the way of that.
Exactly right, but you can also break it down. If you want to store it in your garage, it's a matter of pulling a quick release pin like this, and you're in 3 pieces.
Okay, what about cost on this?
Cost is just $60, Danny.
Okay, great, great. Well, this may be just the thing you need if you're about to paint your house. Well, I see the homeowners took one of our suggestions here on the Lazy Susan being installed by the cabinet maker. Gives good access to that back part of the base cabinet. Now, it's been a couple weeks since we've been on this project and all of the cabinets are installed, all the countertops are installed. Basically, it's a finished kitchen other than a few more appliances and the finished floor. Now, speaking of the floor, you can see what we started with here in that the original kitchen ended right where the cabinet started. It was very small, had very limited access from the kitchen into the breakfast area, and you can see how we moved this cabinet over a good bit to really widen that out. But the biggest difference that we made here is where we moved this wall over the 3 feet, really giving a good spacious floor area in the kitchen. Now, earlier we visited the kitchen and bath showroom and we looked at a number of different manufactured cabinets that are available, and there are a number of them all over the country that are available, and hopefully some of the guidelines we gave you will help you make the right decision. Now, here the homeowner went with custom cabinets because a few years ago they did a bathroom remodeling project and had a real pleasant experience with a local cabinet maker, so they chose him to create the type of cabinets they wanted. And what they wanted was a light birch finish cabinet, and actually is birch wood with the recessed panel like we have here, and the grain looks great, and it's really brightened up the kitchen quite a bit. Now, if you're dealing with manufactured cabinets, particularly with a home center, you may have to do that installation of the cabinets yourself or find someone to do the installation. But either way, you need to start the right way, and that's with a good level line to install your wall cabinets first. After your line is established, you're able to bring the cabinet sections in, and a good trick the cabinet makers use or the cabinet installers use are the little padded prop sticks to hold the weight of the cabinets while you install all of your screws. Now, of course, these cabinets are heavy, plus you're going to load them up, so they're going to be even heavier. So those screws need to be of adequate length, and they need to make sure that you're going directly into a wall stud. Now, also when you're installing cabinets, you need to remember things such as the under-counter lights we have here. Now, these have to be measured very precisely so that the drilling a hole through the little back band can be done right where the wires need to tie in to the light. And these are also a great addition to a kitchen to have that good task lighting right here. Now, after all of that installation is complete, you're ready to bring in all of the base cabinets. And of course, they need to be good and level, so the level is used quite a bit. Screws are used to attach them not only to the walls but to each other. And then you're ready to start accessorizing and putting in all of the doors. Now, one of the things the homeowners chose is real popular, a glass door like this. Gives you a chance to really highlight some of the nicer china or cups or glasses that you may have. And the cabinet installer installed the actual door first, then came back with the 1/16 inch thick glass, and it's held in place by some little plastic keepers on the back side of it. Keeps it from vibrating once it's closed. No matter how good the cabinets are or how straight the wall is, you'll end up with some little trim strips against the wall. Now, the cabinet installer uses some breakaway nails that he's able to nail these in until the strip is secure, and then just break the nail off. This eliminates having to do any setting of the nails or using any putty to take care of it. Well, now all of the cabinets' bases have been installed, the countertops were installed, then it's time to bring in the big cabinet, the one that houses the microwave and the oven combination. This is installed and screwed to not only the wall, but the upper cabinets and lower cabinets. Then the cabinet installer is able to really put the finishing touches on with the crown molding around the top of it. This leaves a little space up top for some good storage as well. Stay with us, we'll tell you more about this kitchen remodeling.
Now, let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Jennifer Brennan. Brought to you by Scott's Lawn Products, for a great lawn, guaranteed.
Container gardening can add a great look to your patio or rear deck.
And Danny, there are several rules that you need to follow, and the number one container gardening rule is that you must always have drainage in the bottom of the pot. That means a hole in the pot. And when I tell people that, they say, oh, how do I keep the soil from coming out? And you use screen, and you can get this at the hardware store, cut it into squares, and cover the holes at the bottom of the pot, and then pour your soil in. Now, that takes us to step 2. Don't ever use soil out of your garden. Get a prepared soil so that it's disease-free and insect-free. And fill your pot up, and then you want to plant your plants at the same level at which they were growing in their own pots. So you put this in, firm the soil around it, and then the final touch is to add a fertilizer. And a time-release fertilizer around the surface of the soil will keep those plants looking great for the whole season.
Well, you can see the wall has been completely trimmed out and painted. This is a wall we moved to allow more room in the kitchen. Now, I hope you'll join us next week as we show you the completed kitchen and give you some great tips on selecting countertops, appliances, and we'll answer some questions about laminate flooring. We get a lot of those. We'll see you next week.